Kizzy might just have released one of my favorite keyboards of 2023 right before the end of the year. So let's take a deeper dive into this keyboard to find out what makes this keyboard great, what needs to be improved, and how it compares to other similar keyboards to see if you should put this keyboard on your wish list. This keyboard on Black Friday was only $90 USD, but the regular price is $120. You can still use the code K75Pro10 for 10% off to bring it down to about $108 USD. Out of the box, you get the user manual, extra switches, either tactile or linear depending on which version you get, a switch and keycap puller all in one, and the USB cable with an adapter to make it USB-C to USB-C for macOS. This is a 75% keyboard, but instead of a volume knob in the top right, they put these indicator lights and a little wheel thing to switch between the 3 different connection modes of Bluetooth 5.0, 2.4 GHz, and wired, which is what off is for. You also have this little LED screen on the top to show the battery percentage when you are using it wirelessly. It kind of pisses me off they didn't put a volume wheel because I find myself reaching for the top right to change the volume and there is nothing there. I never realized how much I actually used the volume wheel until it was gone. It's just really nice to be able to change the volume quickly without having to do it on the computer itself. As for looks, it comes in a lot of different colorways. The one I got is called Time Machine Green, and it has a really nice aesthetic with a sort of off-white case and main keys, some darker green accents on the case and outside keycaps, and a few nice red keys on the spacebar, escape key, and enter key. The other colorways are Arcade Games, Moose Cake, Rhine River, and they have 3 colorways which are meant more if you like RGB, as they have translucent sides to the keycaps so the RGBs shine through more, called Night Gray, Lemon Green, and Sakura Pink. Pretty much all of them look really great. I just thought that the Time Machine Green looked the best to me, and I've also really been on a green kick lately. The RGB is bright, but if you really care about RGB, I would go with one of the 3 colorways with the translucent sides to the keycaps. If not, I like the looks of the Time Machine Green and Moose Cake personally. The keycaps are really high quality PBT plastic. They aren't backlit so the RGB doesn't shine through, but they are bright enough that it still looks good shining around each of the keycaps. It comes with pre-loop switches, either tactile, which I got and they call their Eternity tactile switch, or linear, which they call their Moment linear switch. I really like the tactile switch. It has a nice bump and doesn't require that much force, but I still feel like it's meant more for typing, and if you want to game a lot, I would go with the linear switch. It is hot swappable with 3 or 5 pin switches, and it is gasket mounted with foam to help with the sound of this keyboard. Even the back of this keyboard looks nice with the same nice dark green and a little bit of the off-white from the front of the keyboard. You can find the USB dongle in this magnetized cutout on the back as well, and it also has some height adjustable feet with 2 angles. Where you plug in the keyboard, there is 1 extra USB-C port and 1 USB-A port that you can use as extra ports for your PC, which is super useful. The case is made of plastic, however, so if you really need a metal case, that might be a deal breaker, although it is extremely rare to find anything other than plastic cases on pre-built budget keyboards, and to me this case is plenty good enough. I get if it wasn't very sturdy, finding it as a downside, but this case is very nice and doesn't bend at all. It has a bunch of shortcuts you can use with the function key that you can find on the user manual, such as changing from Mac or Windows mode with function and the A and S keys, or changing the backlight modes with function and backslash, and the color with function and the comma key. It does also have a software, which is nice if you want to set macros, change different key functions, or have a little more option in changing the RGBs. It is a pretty basic software all in all, but it is really easy to use still. If you compare this to the Skylon GK75, which I just reviewed, which is a 75% keyboard that is about half the price without sales at around $60 USD. It sounds a little better and doesn't have any case ping, which after listening side by side to the GK75, it does have a slight ping on the spacebar when compared to the K75. The K75 is also wireless, and the wireless is really good when using the 2.4 GHz dongle, so if you don't want cables messing with the look of your setup, a wireless keyboard just helps keep it looking way cleaner, and if you pair it with a wireless mouse, your setup will look super clean without any cables. The one thing is the volume knob on the GK75 is really nice to have to be able to mute and change volume quick. I do like the looks of the K75 Pro slightly better than the GK75, but it doesn't look that bad either, and to me, although both use PBT plastic for the keycaps, for some reason I just like the feel of the Kizzy K75 Pros just a little bit better. Now, is it worth the extra $50 to $60? Probably not, but to me it is definitely the better keyboard, and if you want a wireless keyboard with a little bit better colorways in my opinion, and a slightly more premium feel, I would get the Kizzy K75 Pro, but if you want to save just a little bit of money, I would go with the GK75 Pro, which you can check out the full review of right here.